Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Appreciate it. And thanks for making the time to listen to this story. Lithium Power International was a company that was established early in 2015. Our goal as a company was to acquire and develop exploration lithium projects across Australia and South America. The company's strategy was to be a pure-play lithium company and to give shareholders exposure to both hard rock lithium in Western Australia and also lithium brine in South America. A number of the key attributes the company has is that we have a very experienced board from a commercial and extensive mining experience. We have highly qualified technical experts on our team that actually have a lot of experience in the commodity lithium itself. As I said before, a diversified approach between both hard rock spodumene lithium and also lithium brine in South America. Exploration targets across all our portfolio have already been defined. And because we were like some of the first movers in this market to actually pick up the right assets, we had to look at making sure that all our assets were close to road, rail and port infrastructure. I'll talk a bit also about the sector as a whole and about the fundamentals that are driving the worldwide battery demand at present. Our next steps to raise the capital are required to drill out our programs on each project. The board itself has 4 members. The chairman is South African businessman and executive Ricky Furtek. We've got an experienced team of technical guys as well. Mr. Murray Brooker, who was involved with Orocobre from the start, from their exploration all the way through to their production. Dr. Mark King, who is known as one of the #1 lithium experts in the world, based over in Canada, who did our independent expert report on our project we purchased in Argentina. And Mr. Todd Axford, who's doing our hard rock exploration on our projects we have in the Pilbara and the Greenbushes. More lithium experience comes on the board from Dr. Luis Ignacio Silva. Dr. Luis Ignacio Silva is based over in Santiago, Chile. He's very well respected over there and he's worked for a lot of the major lithium companies worldwide. So the new buzzword, as we call it, lithium, and like charging the future. There's talk about, is this commodity a bubble? Is it the lithium myth? Like, where is this commodity going to take us? And I believe, and our company believes, that we're sitting on a paradigm shift here. And it's sort of like a Jaddy Rockefeller moment that we're sitting on. So the movement from Standard Oil is what we're sort of seeing. And this isn't just like comments coming from us internally promoting. This is actually coming from some of the biggest houses in the world. The likes of Goldman Sachs have came out and said, lithium is the new gasoline. You've got the US Department of Energy now considering lithium to be a strategic energy metal. You've got Elon Musk promoting, electric vehicles comments that all cars are going to be electric within 30 years in the United States. And we also appointed CRU because we did a lot of research and a lot of work on this commodity like years before this boom kicked in. And we appointed CRU to do like an independent report on, the market itself, substitution possibilities, etc. And one of the highlights that came out was, given the continued growth in electric vehicles, lithium carbonate prices are expected to increase over the forecast period. The forecast period that we've done is out to 2020. So just give you guys a bit more understanding about the market itself and give you a bit of education from the highlights we got from the CRU report. One of the main drivers here is that we're looking at, across all applications, it's not just batteries, but that's the main focus here. Across all applications, the commodity lithium is looking to grow roughly about 8% per annum over the next 5 years out to 2020. And the battery demand itself, you look on the chart on the left here, we've got in the red bar, that's 2015 electric vehicles. It's looking to grow approximately about 23% per annum over the next 5 years. And you can see on the right chart there, and the red bar, you can see the increase there. It's quite dramatic. It is worth noting, though, that this chart was actually put in place prior to Tesla having its iPhone moment, as they call it, where they got $10 billion worth of sales in literally like one day. So we believe these numbers are, as a company, are quite conservative. It's worth noting as well that the main driver of growth is actually going to come from China. So they're currently producing 50% of the global battery market. So that's some quite interesting data, which makes those projects in Western Australia very viable. So we've seen a huge rally in the price of lithium itself. On the left here, we've got the contract price, and there's a movement happening from the contract price to the spot market price. You see in the spot price in China rally, you're talking like 500%, so sort of from like 5,000 US a tonne to in excess of $20,000 a tonne in the last sort of period of 9 months, let's call it. And you'll probably see more of a movement from contract to spot happen over the next period once more supply comes on. So this graph here is the supply-demand balance of lithium itself. So the blue bar, if you look at that, that takes you out to 2020. That's the sort of supply that has to come onto market to meet, the base case demand. The base case demand is the line in green, and you can sort of see out to 2020, it sort of like meets par. So if nothing really happens with lithium and we just continue along having lithium as in iPhones, etc., then the current supply on the market with the growth predicted with current supply, you sort of got like a commodity that's on par with each other. If you take any base case scenarios at all, and you have an upside scenario, which is the red line, you're looking at a little bit of movement out of China and a little bit of sales out of companies like Tesla. You can see there's going to be a massive shortage of this commodity out to 2020, and this is what's really driving the juniors at present. We actually believe now, from the research we've done outside of this report, and as I said before, in regards to that iPhone moment that Tesla 3 had with all those orders, that upside scenario is probably base case. So talking more about the projects itself inside Lithium Power, we have 3 project regions. We have areas in the Pilbara area of Western Australia and also the Greenbushes area of Western Australia. And from a strategy point of view, to diversify between hard rock, spodumene and lithium brine, we spent about 3 months last year acquiring assets in Argentina. It's worth noting that all projects are 100% owned by Lithium Power International or our subsidiary, Lithium Power South America. So the first project we're going to talk about today is the new hotspot area for lithium hard rock, which is the Pilgangoora region of Western Australia. We have 3 project areas in this region, and you can see here in the grey, there's 3 project areas there that's owned by Lithium Power. We've done some field work out on site. We've identified some outcropping pegmatite to the north. We've also identified some greenstone visibly on the portfolio. That's our exploration manager out on site. If you zoom into the main area here that we're looking at and what the market is really trying to get their head around, you're talking like roughly 90 kilometres to Port Hedland, access straight out to China. We're approximately about 2 kilometres to the west of both Pilbara Minerals deposit, a lithium deposit, and also Atura Mining's deposit that they have there. It was all fine to have this sort of like large strategic holding, and we picked it up at quite a good time. We then got advice that we should do a magnetic airborne survey across our portfolio. And if I just go back to the other picture, you can see there's sort of a P shape, which is the grey. That's our holding. And then if you zoom in here, this is the P shape on the magnetics. The magnetic came back quite interesting. The data that was interpreted by our independents said that we've got in excess of 12 kilometres of strike in this new lithium hotspot zone of Australia. And that strike is the greenstone, which is shaded in on that image. It's also worth noting that the independent advice that came back stated that any greenstone in this area would likely to be part of the neighbouring greenstone belt hosting both the Pilgangoora lithium pegmatite deposits, which was talked about by our independent experts. So we're really looking forward to drilling this project after our upcoming IPO. So secondly, we move on to the Greenbushes area. The Greenbushes area is home to the largest hard rock lithium mine in the world. We picked up roughly about 400 square kilometres of tenure across this portfolio, which are now granted and ready for exploration. We also acquired like a number of the known pegmatites in this area, which you can see in blue on this map. So pretty much all the pegmatites that are known in this region are now under control by Lithium Power International. And it's also worth noting that only 1.5% of this portfolio has ever been explored for actual lithium. So, and I guess the main reason about that is that when Talison owned the Greenbushes mine, the demand wasn't really there. They sold it in 2012 to Tenke, which is a Chinese group that came out and paid $1 billion in cash for that asset. And the talk was that there was no real need to explore because there was no real, further demand in the actual future. And we all know that the Chinese aren't really known for exploring either. So there's a huge opportunity here for us as our company to potentially find a new economic ore body in this region for lithium. We then did some gravity survey work across the portfolio, and it's worth noting there that that second box down to the south is running along the northwest corridor structure, which is a trending structure on this portfolio. It's roughly 10 kilometres from the lithium mine itself. We've got a target there. We've gone out on site. We've found the outcropping pegmatites. We've got some sample results as well that come back positive, and we're looking forward to exploring this target as well after our IPO. So from a strategy point of view, as I talked about to start off with, a diversified pure play lithium explorer was our strategy. So we went over to South America. There was like a whole bunch of issues in regards to Chile, and we're tossing up, do we go to Chile, do we go to Argentina? There was, over in Chile, if your project isn't granted before the year 1979, you don't have the rights to actually exploit lithium in Chile. So we met with government, we did the right process, and then after all that sort of analysis, we came up with acquiring assets in Argentina. Argentina is one part of the lithium triangle, so you've got Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, where 60% of the world's supply of lithium comes from. In this region, and the project area that we bought is in the area of Salta province, and also known as the Argentinians Apono Plateau. And this area has the likes of Orocobre, FMC, and Lithium Americas. So all the major producing assets come from this region. The independent expert report that was done by Dr. Mark King, the highlight of it was that the asset that we've bought, it has the potential to host economic concentrations of lithium in subsurface brine, and there's been a number of diamond holes drilled to date to prove this analysis. If we move into the project area, you see here in the red that the projects we own. The other half of the Salar is owned by the French government by a company called Eramin. They've got their own electric vehicle company. It's now listed on the Paris Exchange. I heard that they're almost past feasibility stage and looking at getting this into production. So it's quite a strategic holding that we have as a company in this region to be sort of a first move into Argentina and to South America. This is a picture of the Salar as well on the right. So our timing was pretty much perfect because we were over there in July. Nobody was investing money into Argentina. It was, it was at all-time low in regards to investor confidence over there. And we ended up getting our hands and acquiring this asset after extensive due diligence. At that same time, Argentina said yes to President Macri, which was a move to the centre-right, which was very positive for us as a company to have secured this asset before that happened. Investor confidence rose 80% in that short period of time over in Argentina. And there's been further evidence as well in regards to him dropping the tax from 5% to 0% and cancelling the blue money, market money, etc. that happens over there, the arbitrage market. So there's a lot of positives happening in Argentina at the moment. We believe we are really well positioned in Argentina. We've got great assets here in Australia, and now we're just looking forward to the journey ahead to explore these assets. Thank you. Appreciate it.